World Swimming Championships on 5 Sports Extra.
A wonderful gold medal for Great Britain in a world record time. Anna Hopkin, James Guy, Adam Peaty and Kath Dawson have themselves a most beautiful gold medal.
It couldn't have gone any better. I was really enjoying what I was doing. I came away happy with what I'd done, and to finally cement that Olympic gold was fantastic.
Tom Dean has gold for Great Britain. Duncan Scott with the silver medal. A 1-2 for Great Britain. The first time that's happened in over 100 years.
One thing I'm really focusing on now is this new title. It's winning after winning, defending this Olympic title.
Gold for Great Britain. They're just a fraction outside the world record. The third gold medal in the pool for Great Britain this week. They are having a games to remember.
I want to continue to push, continue to improve and continue to win medals, and hopefully at the next Olympics we can bring home more than one.
Silver for Great Britain. A wonderful swim by the British boys. That's an 8th medal in the pool this week for Great Britain. It's a silver, the best Olympics ever for our swimmers.
We overreached in the Olympics, but I've asked them to carry that on for World Championships, Commonwealths and Euros, and that's what I've asked them to do.
Wow, so many great moments from last year's Olympics. So well called there by John Hunt and Karen Pickering. And I'm Steve Parry, and welcome back to Sports Extra's coverage of the World Swimming Championships from Budapest. John and Karen, they're both in the Duna Arena. How are we doing, guys? You well?
Great, thanks,
Very
Steve.
well,
yeah,
thanks.
hi.
Hey, do you know what? Listening back to some of those races last year, it really was phenomenal for Great Britain, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was a shame that we couldn't be in Tokyo for it. It's amazing that we had some great races, because we were up in the middle of the night to watch them, weren't we? We actually sounded quite awake.
Yeah, absolutely. You could tell, though, Steve, obviously, that we were lacking a vital ingredient, and that's the crowd. And with Christoph Milak, the superstar here in Hungary, going to swim a big final tonight, there is lots of green, white and red flags everywhere tonight. Lots of youngsters in the crowd as well. I think the atmosphere will be banging very shortly.
What about the red, white and blue? Because we've got a jam-packed session for the Brits as well, just so everyone's aware. There's British representation in 7 events this evening. There's only 9 events going, so lots to be interested in. But probably the highlights, Karen, will be the 3 finals with British interest. Freya Anderson qualifying fastest, James Guy in the 200 metres butterfly. He looked good yesterday. And then, of course, the world record holder Brits going the 4x100 mixed medley relay. What do you think? And I mean, prospects him in the war, or is that too optimistic?
Well, in the 200 freestyle, there's only 8/10 separating all 8 of the finalists. So everyone going into that race is going to feel they've got a chance to get on the podium. Freya, lane 4, she looked utterly superb in her semi-final, and many times I've watched her swim and thought she really does, her stroke really lends itself to a 200 freestyle, because it's very tall, very long, very elegant when she swims, and I thought she swam the perfect race yesterday. So I think she has a huge opportunity if she can really get the pacing right, and then just grit and determination down that last 50. She's got a massive opportunity tonight.
I know, Steve, this sounds a little bit melodramatic perhaps, but this, I think, is a career-defining 2 hours ahead for Freya Anderson, because obviously she's quickest into that final. But despite her extraordinary success as part of Great Britain's relay teams over the last 4 or 5 years, she still hasn't bagged a big international medal as of yet, individually, and often consumed by self-doubt. If this goes wrong tonight, I would be a little bit concerned for her in terms of her mental progression from here on in. And obviously, if she were to fly tonight, which we hope she does, it could really set her up for the rest of her career. Now, added to that, Steve, she is now in the relay team as well, instead of Anna Hopkin.
Wow. So
that is a big night's work ahead, isn't it? Just to let you know that Mehdi Harris will lead off there. James Wilby. James Guy comes in there for Jacob Peters, and the anchor leg will be Freya Anderson.
She loves a relay, though. I mean, she's great anchoring the relay back. And I think, actually, because she's so good chasing, I think that's where the 200 freestyle and the way she swims it will be really great for her, because she needs to sit tight, be really calm and collected on the first half, and then she can really push it, and it's almost like she is in the relay. Then she can chase them all down in the second half, and that's when we know she's at her best.
Yeah, and that's going to be fantastic. I believe that's going in about 15 to 20 minutes time, that women's 200 freestyle, so we haven't got long to see how that pans out. And then in addition to that, just some mention for the semi-finals, we got Whittle and Burris going in the 100 metres freestyle. That's going to be about 5:25. Women's 50 backsies, Medi Harris go as well. Tom Dean in the 200 metres individual medley, and Laura Stevens rounding us off on the semi-finals in the women's 200 metres butterfly. So, Karen, is it fair to say a lot going on for Britain, but maybe missing some of the highs? Of course, Duncan Scott is missing. We would have seen him in the 200 metres individual medley, and Adam Peaty probably would have been in there. Well, he would have been in there, maybe probably getting a gold medal in the 50 metres breaststroke as well.
Yeah, we're certainly missing, and I think, you know, as the days progress, we really are seeing the huge effects of three big names missing from the British team, with Kathleen Dawson, the backstroker, Duncan Scott, and Adam Peaty, of course. And, you know, to begin with, before the championships start, you think, well, we've still got some great team, we've still got the depth on the 4x200. As the days progress, you really miss those guys stepping up. And, you know, to have Adam Peaty going in 100 breaststroke, you just kind of know you're going to get the gold medal. It's sort of handed to him almost before he swims, and starting to really miss those guys.
Yeah, I hopefully wish him a speedy recovery with his foot injury. We'll see him at the Commonwealth Games. James Guy, 200 metres butterfly. I mean, he looked like he had an elephant on his back the last 10 metres in his semi-final yesterday, but that final's close, isn't it? If you take Milak out the equation, he could have a chance.
Yeah, courageous swimmer, isn't he? He's got such an appetite for it when he's in the pool, when it counts, when it really counts. This a fella, of course, who not too many years ago, Steve, we saw in the pool in Kazan winning the 200 freestyle world championship. His 100-metre butterfly has always been exceptional. Massive part of all the relay teams. What a chance for him maybe to make a big impact individually in this 200-metre event, which he's never swum before at a major international meet. Looking forward to see how he gets on. One thing's for sure, Karen, when James Guy's in the pool, it's never dull.
No, it isn't. I mean, the way he swam that race yesterday, he was out so hard. He really took the race on, and then, my goodness, the last few metres, it really hurt. Reminiscent of the times that we've watched Chad Leclos, of course, the Olympic champion back in 2012. He has that way of swimming races, and you really think there's no chance he's going to hang on, and yet somehow he does. And perhaps James Guy, with that chance of a medal, that will really drive him down those final few metres when he'll need everything he can get.
Well, there's a mouth-watering prospect here as well for our opening final. Although no Brits in there, men's 800 metres freestyle, some big names: Romanchuk, Wellbrook, Detty. They'll all be battling it out there. And John, you spoke at length about Ireland's Daniel Whiffen. He's had a good start to the meet, hasn't he?
It's been absolutely fantastic. So Daniel basically is Northern Irish. He was born at Magahallen in Northern Ireland. He moved to Loughborough to study there with his twin brother Nathan. He's there now. He's doing information technology management for business. That's part of a computer science course. He's a little bit of a minor YouTube hero as well. He posts his daily activities, etc., etc. He looks what you hope a 20-year-old youngster would be like. You know, occasionally a bit off the wall, but deadly serious when it comes to his training, and he's been absolutely scything his personal best times in this event for some time now, and set a massive new Irish record to qualify for this final in lane number 2. It would be sensational if he could get anywhere near the medals, because like you say, this is a World Championships, and there are some very, very strong contenders, including the Olympic gold medalist Bobby Fink from the United States.
I know we're very close to the start here, guys, but do you think it means more to Romanchuk with what's going on in Ukraine at the moment? Will he have added incentive to win this event, or does it not come into it in this stage?
I think every time an athlete from Ukraine steps up, it's more than just themselves that they're competing for, and I've no doubt that it's going to be, you know, he'll carry the weight of that when he swims, and you know, if he's hurting down the closing stages, I'm sure that will drive him on. So it'd be fantastic to see him do something special in the pool.
Well, I can hear the whistle, John. You take it away.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, this is the men's 800 metres freestyle final. It's the first event so far this week to have the Olympic gold, silver and bronze medalists from Tokyo all reopposing in another big final. So away we go. The feature, if we could just spend a couple of seconds while the field sort themselves out here, Karen, the feature of the Olympic Games final was Bobby Fink's quite astonishing last 100 metres to win the gold medal there.
Yeah, he can't surprise anyone with that this time though, can he? I mean, he came out of nowhere to steam down that final 50 metres, but the other swimmers will be on the lookout for that at these championships. And we expect Florian Wellbrook, he was the 10k open water champion at the Olympics, so of all these swimmers in the pool, he's the one with the endurance and really has a slow stroke, but he just has that metronomic up and down the pool. But it is lane 1, Guilherme Costa of Brazil, who's having his moment to lead the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how long he'll stay there for. There are 16 lengths of the pool to negotiate. They've done 2 of them. Costa leads for Brazil. Paltrinieri of Italy is currently in second place. Florian Wellbrook is in third position, and then Bobby Fink, who's this side of Paltrinieri in lane 7. He remains close up. Off the pace is Daniel Whiffen for Ireland. He's racing in lane 2. He's in 7th place. Damien Joly is just in behind him, and just ahead of him is the Italian Gabriele Detti. Gabriele Detti was the European bronze medalist in this pool last year, behind Romanchuk and Paltrinieri. So we're starting to see an order. It's distracting to have Costa right over on the far side, swimming really fast. You'd think too fast. At what stage do we think he's a contender? I would say if he's still there on the last length, then I'll worry about him, but I'm expecting him to drop away, Karen.
Well, we sometimes see swimmers do this over the 400 metres, but it's very, very difficult to keep up a pace ahead of the field like this over the 800 metres. So I'd start to imagine that the swimmers will begin to reel him in over the next 100.
I like the way Daniel Whiffen is, although he's back in 7th place, he's only just really on the shoulders of Detti and Romanchuk, who are in the next lanes to him. So Daniel Whiffen is not being overawed just yet or outclassed by this wonderful field of swimmers, and it's still Costa who leads. Costa in front. Paltrinieri will be in 2nd place as they make another turn. Romanchuk next, and then Wellbrook, followed by Fink. After Fink is Detti and Whiffen, and Damien Joly of France is still at the rear end of the field. So, having gone off through the first 50 very rapidly, the pace is steadied up a little bit as Costa, still on the far side of the pool, leads up as they come by us now. Right in front of us, Karen, they're going from our right to left, about to make another turn.
Yeah, they've pretty much closed the gap now on Costa. He's going to turn very, very slightly, 9/100ths ahead now. They have reeled him in over that 100 metres. We're at the 300 metre mark now, and it is Romanchuk who's he's looking comfortable, breathing to his right. He has a very long stroke, not using his legs too much at this stage of the race.
Romanchuk beat Paltrinieri in the European Championships here by a second last year. It's quite a strong move, isn't it, towards the 350 metre mark. Romanchuk has definitely upped the ante and leads by half a second from Paltrinieri. Costa's faded back into 3rd place over on the far side of the pool. Whiffen is still next to Detti, slightly behind him, but certainly not far behind Detti. However, those two are now a little way behind Wellbrook and also Bobby Fink. Bobby Fink right there in lane number 7, having to swim differently, of course, now, but he's right in the mix here, turning a very, very close 4th.
Yeah, he's always going to be a danger because he is going to finish very, very strong. It is his style of swimming. It just won't be a surprise when he does it. Paltrinieri going very well. He's been so consistent over the 800 and 1500 over the years, much as his teammate Gabriele Detti. They've been delivering medals for Italy time and time again. Of course, Florian Wellbrook's still in the race, and to be honest, as a 10k swimmer, he's only just warming up now, isn't he?
Yeah, and we're warming up nicely here. We're well past the halfway stage. Romanchuk, Paltrinieri, Fink, Wellbrock, these four starting to assert over the rest of them, still headed by Costa. And then we've got Daniel Whiffin still next to Gabriele Detti. Of course, Whiffin has the advantage of age over Detti. Detti hugely experienced. Those two at the moment are racing along in 6th and 7th place, and then the Frenchman Damien Joly, the 30-year-old, last of all. They turn now at 500 metres, 300 to go. Romanchuk is still out in front, and his lead seems to have just increased to about a body length.
Yeah, still holding the same stroke rate, long stroke, and when he turns to breathe, his head just barely comes out of the water, just about see his mouth over the top of the water. Very efficient. He stays very, very flat when he swims, and still not a huge leg kick, but it is a little bit of splash you can see behind, but he's not working it hard yet.
Wow, this looks promising for a Ukraine medal here, very possibly a gold one. Romanchuk, looks as though Paltrinieri's starting though to rise to the challenge. He has definitely moved past Wellbrook, and Fink is there. Those two are half a metre behind Paltrinieri, but Paltrinieri in second place is still a body length behind Romanchuk. No further progress from Daniel Whiffin, incidentally. He now looks to have just dropped back a little bit and turns in last place, but back with the leaders. It is Romanchuk in front, Paltrinieri chasing hard, Fink there on their outside, and fourth place for Wellbrook, and the medals will come from these four.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a fight in the closing stages of a distance race, and none of those swimmers really like to have to fight it out for a medal, but Paltrinieri's trying to pick up the pace a little bit, trying to split the field and get back on terms with Romanchuk, but it is still Romanchuk a body length up, and Wellbrook, Paltrinieri and Fink all in a line, fighting it out for the second place at the moment.
Well, last year with these two, Romanchuk and Paltrinieri, they served up a tremendous European Championships. Paltrinieri still a body length behind, and if anything, Florian Wellbrock is starting to move into another gear, and still Bobby Fink there as they take the bell, 100 to go. Romanchuk is a street fighter, he's out in front. Wellbrook though now kicking in, he's gone second ahead of Paltrinieri. Bobby Fink is another few feet back in fourth place, and if Romanchuk has got a danger, it looks like it's the German Florian Wellbrock.
Well, this has turned into a completely different race now. The guys have picked up their pace. You can see the huge amount of splash behind them as they increase their leg kick. They're absolutely going for it now. With 50 metres to go, it is still Romanchuk leading, but this is turning into what looks like a 50-metre sprint for the finish.
And look at Wellbrook kick in as well, and Bobby Fink coming there as well. Can Romanchuk hold on? I think they're going to go past him. Wellbrook, Bobby Fink finding that Olympic acceleration down the outside, and he's done it again. Bobby Fink turns in a spectacular final 50 to win it. Bobby Fink of the United States adds to his Olympic gold by winning here the World Championship as well, beating Florian Wellbrook. It is bronze eventually for the Ukrainian. That's Romanchuk in third. He gave it everything. Paltrinieri out of the medals. Not much has gone wrong for Italy at these games so far, but he just misses out. Well, Bobby Fink shows he's no one-trick pony, with a tremendous last 50 to cut down the world's best stayers.
That was incredible to see, that turn of speed that they had in that closing 50. It was a full-on absolute bum fight to the finish. They just completely change their stroke rate, they pick up the pace, and this is why these guys don't just do the long distance training, they have to do the speed work as well, so that they can finish an 800 like that.
And a word for Daniel Whiffin from Ireland, 7:50.63. He finishes in 8th place in this final. What an experience for him though, what a great effort to get here. It's a shame his time dropped off quite badly from qualification. But for that, he could have been 5th or 6th if he could have found that form again, but it wasn't to be for the Irishman based in Loughborough. Hopefully we'll see much, much more of him in the coming years. But it's Bobby Fink for America, Florian Wellbrook for Germany, and for Ukraine, Mikhailo Romanchuk with the bronze medal. What a stirring start to the night, Stevie.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic. So enjoyed you guys calling that race there, John. To me, that sounded like one of the races of the meet so far, and it felt like all four of those guys, you know, European champions, world champions, Olympic champions amongst them, sounds like they all deserved the medal, such was the quality of the race.
So, but Bobby Fink swam his last 50 metres in 25.9. So
That's
he'd done
ridiculous.
750 and brought it home in 25.9. It's quick, isn't it?
Well, it's actually quicker than he went at the Olympics last year. If I remember correctly, it was 26 seconds last year, and we all marvelled at that.
Yeah, no. 26, Wellbrook, the 10k swimmer, brought it home in 26 points. So, you know, these guys, they can't just do the metres anymore. They have to do the speed work.
I mean, to put that into perspective, Karen, you know, starting in the water to your feet, 25 seconds, it's hard to get your head round, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you see them, they're increasing their speed into the wall so that they bounce off it quickly. So they're already picking up the momentum. So it's not like they're coming off the wall and just using the wall for some pace. They go into it fast and they absolutely bounce off and start powering down that last 50.
But Popovici, who we'll see later in the 100 free, people are talking about him maybe breaking the record on the blue ribbon event. He was only 24 point this morning and he's only swimming 2 lengths. These boys are doing 16 lengths and they're only a second slower on the last 50. I can't quite get my head round it.
He needs to step up, doesn't he? He was messing around. If these guys can finish in a 25 point. But, you know, we talked about it before. It's the same as in the women's distance racing. You look at the likes of Ariane Titmus and Katie Ledecky. They can bang out a great 100-metre time as well. You know, it's not good enough to just be able to keep going at a set pace for a long time, like the distance swimming of the past. They need to be able to pick up the pace, respond and finish in a sprint finish like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, that really got us off to a great start. You know, some people say the distance events can be boring, but in times like that, you know, they're absolute highlights of the meet. What a fabulous men's 800 metres freestyle. Women's 200 free coming up, John. We had no one break the semi-finals, no one break 156 in the semi-finals, and this is going to be incredibly tight. But as you've already highlighted for us, Freya Anderson leads the way, doesn't she? And this is her time to shine.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. This is, you know, she bears the weight of history as well on her shoulders. Worth bearing in mind as we await the swimmers to come out onto the pool deck that Great Britain have never won a medal in this event at the World Championships, for that matter. And you've got to go back to the Kazan Games of 2015 for the last female individual medals at a World Championship for Great Britain. Siobhan Marie O'Connor, that amazing swim behind Katinka Hosu in the 200 IM, and Jazz Carlin got a bronze as well in the 800 metres at that particular Games. But the last 2 World Championships, Steve, individual women have drawn a blank, and now a chance, and a pretty big one for Freya Anderson to right that and really propel her career forward. Let's just hope in the next few moments the 21-year-old can achieve it, Steve. And let's bear in mind as well, Steve, 8 huge gold medals at senior international level, but never an individual medal. Never an individual gold. It would be lovely if that changed now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, this is a tight field. She's definitely got a big opportunity here. It always surprises me how big Freya Anderson actually is. I mean, she's 6'2", and she's just, you know, she's got all the tools to win this event. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's do so. We can tell you who the lineup is. In lane number 1, Isabel Goss of Germany. She was 5th in the 400 metres event earlier this week. Yongzhang Yang was part of the 4x100 freestyle team that finished 4th for China. She's very quick. She's the 8th fastest in history. Maybe the favourite for this race, Molly O'Callaghan, certainly on this year's World Times. Only Ariana Titmus, the great Australian, who's not here, of course, her fellow compatriot, has gone quicker than Molly O'Callaghan, and Molly in qualification looked great. She's already tasted gold as well as part of Australia's 4x100 team. Freya Anderson just coming out. Hard to interpret body language, but her face, she looks nervous to me. We're all nervous for her. Lane 4, but we know what a great swimmer she is. In her semi-final, she was really, really accomplished. Lovely swim from her, a near personal best. Maddie Wilson goes for Australia in lane number 5. Charlotte Bonnet is in lane number 6. Taylor Ruck, dangerous Canadian. Whatever event she goes in, she's very, very dangerous. And Muhan Tang, not to be written out either. So welcome to you all, the women's 200-metre freestyle final. And it's Freya Anderson's potential big date with destiny. For so long now, for Great Britain, she has been an integral part of the relay teams, both female and mixed. Can she now land the biggest prize of her career individually? She goes in lane number 4 here for Great Britain, and she's into the water. Karen Pickering, this was your event, Karen. What does she need to do here to be as effective as possible? She's got 2 excellent Australians either side of her, Molly O'Callaghan and Maddie Wilson.
Well, she swam a superb semi-final where she was steady on the first 100 and then really worked the second half of her race, and that's what she needs to do. Stay calm, stay positive. Just know that there are other swimmers in the pool who may take the race on, like Taylor Ruck, who is leading for Canada in the early stages of this race. But Freya is a chaser. We've seen her do that many times in the relays. That's where she comes into her own. So if she can really chase down the second half, that'll be great. And she's poised in a good position at the moment. It is very close along, completely across the field.
Nearing halfway, Ruck, Bonnet, O'Callaghan, Yang, they're the leaders. But Freya Anderson eases now into 5th place, nearing halfway. With them as well, Maddie Wilson. Tang is well off the pace. That one's not going to be a threat, I don't think. And on the far side, Isabel Gosa is trying hard, but also slightly off the pace. So they're now racing towards the final 75 metres of these World Championships. Yang still leading from O'Callaghan, putting them under pressure. Charlotte Bonnet is there, and Freya Anderson, this is where she usually kicks in.
Yeah, it certainly is, and she's in a great position. Taylor Ruck has taken the race on. She's still holding on for Canada. Muhan Tang going well for China. Freya Anderson turns in 6th, but it's very, very close. She's breathing to her right. She can see Molly O'Callaghan, who is one of the favourites to win this title. She's picking up the pace now. The field is starting to spread a little bit. Molly O'Callaghan and Yujan Yang really going well.
Yang, O'Callaghan, they have the lead. Freya Anderson's now moved into 3rd place. I think the gold and silver will elude her. We've got Tang finishing well as on the outside as well, and she might deny Freya Anderson a medal. They touch now. Yang wins gold, O'Callaghan silver, and Tang did indeed out-touch Freya Anderson for the bronze medal. Freya Anderson has finished 4th here for Great Britain. A big opportunity to land an individual medal has slipped by. 4th for Great Britain. That's becoming a habit at these games. It's happened 3 times now in big finals that British swimmers have finished 4th. Freya Anderson has occupied that position, and we will see her later on in the mixed medley relay as well. But a disappointing start to her night.
Oh, John. Dear, oh dear, 4th. It's the worst place to finish, isn't it? And it looked like she had a medal with 15 metres to go.
Yeah, it was Tang, Muhan Tang, the 8th fastest of all time, don't forget. Sorry, 7th. And she found a tremendous kick down the outside. But for her, she would have been clear 3rd. Maddie Wilson, Charlotte Bonnet were well broken by then, and Taylor Ruck likewise. That's agonising, isn't it? Yang and O'Callaghan, they were clear 1st and 2nd best there. But eventually Freya Anderson's been beaten for the bronze medal by just over 0.3 of a second.
Her time in the semi-final, though, would have got her the bronze medal. That's the frustration there. You know, if she'd just been able to repeat what she did yesterday, she'd be on the podium.
Karen, is past me now. She looks fine, Steve. Head slightly bowed now. And obviously, immediately, she's got to shrug the disappointment off and prepare for that big relay to come up at the end of the afternoon here. But I can't help but feel really disappointed for her. Quickest into the final, Steve, to finish 4th. Agonising, really.
I was just going to ask, Karen, is there an excuse? I mean, I don't want to be unfair, but is there an excuse for being half a second slower in a world final 24 hours after you've done a fantastic semi?
I mean, no, she just needed to do exactly the same again. And when you're fighting for a medal in the closing stages, you really would expect that would have brought her home. She looked like she settled into the race. Of course, there were going to be some other swimmers who would take the race on, but she settled into her own race and then just really needed to dig in the closing stages. And somewhere, I'll go back through the splits and have a look. It was just off. She didn't have the greatest of starts. She didn't hit the water that well. But she should have had time to be able to recover from that. So it's a massive shame. Of course there is pressure going in lane 4 of a World Championship final, but I think the way she swims a 200, and yes, there is a lack of experience at that event for her, but the way she swims it, if she'd settled and then worked it, you can get into the race. So I feel gutted. There is a real opportunity missed there. She definitely wouldn't have been favourite to win it, looking at a lot of the times that other swimmers have done. But there is a real opportunity missed to get on the podium.
Such a shame. John, just to let you know, we were talking about Bobby Fink's last 50 metres. Having a look at some of the stats here, his last 50 metres in the 800 was faster than any of the men in the 200 free. That's how hard it is to get your head round that. But Bobby Fink is a stud when he comes home on that last 50, isn't he? I mean, he's an absolute freight train.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about this sport. Visually, you can interpret what your eyes are telling you, but then, of course, pretty much immediately you have some data to back up what you've just seen, and that's one of the really interesting things I think about this sport. The public address announcer just cranking this crowd up, and they've responded, Steve. There's nothing much happening apart from a couple of guys on the pool deck starting to whip everybody up, but I'm all for a bit of atmosphere. I'm
pretty good at Hungarian. I think they said Karen Pickering is in the house. That's what I think I heard there. But
yeah, I think you're right.
Just a statement on Caleb Dressel. So some may say Caleb Dressel's a chicken in this men's 100 free blue ribbon event coming up in the next minute's time, with Popovici looking so good. But the statement from USA, Team USA, says a decision has been made by the team in consultation with Caleb, his coach, and the team's medical staff for him to withdraw from the 100 freestyle on medical grounds.
He's not part of the mixed medley relay either, so they haven't included him in that, which obviously you'd expect him to have featured somewhere.
And they're going to make a decision on his participation through the second half of the week shortly. That American team, incidentally, Steve, later on, Hunter Armstrong, world record holder over 50 metres. He'll set them off there. Nick Fink, fabulous swimmer, and Tori Husk and Claire Curzon, they've had great meets so far. The cheers now go up for the Hungarian Sebastian Szabo, and Nandor Nemeth will get one as well. So Hungary have got 2 swimmers in this first semi-final without Caleb Dressel. It's caused all sorts of consternation because, of course, you've got to rejig all the semi-final lineups when you have a pull-out, Steve. So let's hope we get the right swimmers in the right lanes here.
Yeah, absolutely. What do we think, Karen, that Lewis Burris and Jacob Whittle can do here? Is it beyond them to make the final?
No, I don't think it's beyond them. I mean, Jacob Whittle was just fractionally outside of his best time in the heats this morning. So I'd like to see him go quicker. It's an evening swim and an opportunity for him. He was 7th fastest this morning. So a really good chance for him. And then Lewis Burris, nothing to lose. He was a 6/10 outside of his best, so a little bit to find there. He's on an outside lane, but he's got good swimmers around him, so I would expect to get 2 through to the final, I think, would be tough.
Great stuff. Well, blue ribbon event, John. Let's settle down and look forward to this race.
Yep, the first semi-final then. The lineup here is Ruslan Gaziev of Canada in lane 1, Mikhail Schruders of Aruba in lane 2, Jacob Whittle in lane 3, Andrej Bana in lane 4 of Serbia, Maxime Gousset of France is in lane 5, the 2 Hungarians in 6 and 7, Nemeth and Szabo, and Sunwoo Hwang of Korea, who of course medalled earlier on in the week. Dangerous swimmer. Only Popovici beat him, of course, in the 200. He could be very dangerous, lane number 8. So, Jacob Whittle, first thing, Karen, lane 3, he's got to get a good start. I've got a big note next to my notes from this morning. Poor start. He really was slow. So to be 7th overall, not a bad effort. Into the water they go. How has Whittle started? He is only 17. It's not really a very good start again.
No, and he is known for not having great skills in terms of the start and turn, but being one of the fastest swimmers in the water between. So definitely something for him to work on, and he's going pretty well getting back on terms.
He is indeed, yeah. If only he could sort that out. He's going to turn now in 6th place, but quite close up. Grousset and Bana, and then the 2 Hungarians, Szabo and Nemeth, are being roared on, and Jacob Whittle is trying to work his way into the final of this event. Still, though, with much work to do. Lane 5, Maxime Grousset has what looks to be a commanding semi-final grip on here. Whittle's finishing off well, but will it be enough? He's finished in 5th in this semi-final, making life difficult. He's gone 48-1-9, which
faster
is
than he went this morning.
Marginally quicker this morning.
Just outside his best time. So it was a good swim. He was finishing strong there. He looked good, but I mean, it's such a shame, you know, when you see someone start and turns and can see the difference it makes so much. You know, he's handing a half a body length to those other guys in the race. But exciting, you know, he is only 17 years of age, so a real exciting prospect.
He'll just have to brush up that starting, though. I mean, we saw it with Ben Proud. I know it's a completely different event, the 50 fly earlier this week, and if you don't start well in what is effectively a guns out, non-stop, high octane event, if you don't start well, Karen, you're under massive pressure straight away.
Yeah, you're right, and also in some ways it's one of the easiest things to correct, because you're not having to train hard and put the hours in to do it. It's repetition, and it's working on the spring, and you're being able to jump and that power. So that's what needs to work on.
Guys, are we on?
There we are.
Oh, sorry, John. Are you going to call the?
Nope.
I was just going to say, are we on world record watch here?
For Popovici?
Yeah,
definitely.
It's
absolutely, definitely.
Karen's been talking about him for years, you know, and she was proven right in that 200 free earlier in the week. And I did suspect that Dressel was being a chicken, but I hope he's all right.
If he does. I was talking about Popovici last year and expecting him to I kept saying he's going to get a medal at the Olympics, and he really let me down. So I'm glad to see he's pulled his finger out at these championships.
He really let you down. I hope he's reflected on his performance.
He went and had to think, and I told him, go and sit down and think about what you've done.
He's just got such a beautiful stroke, hasn't he?
It is. I mean, it's for swimming nerds like me, it's just reminiscent of watching Alex Popov in the water. You know, it's not the brute strength, power through the pool that many of the sprint freestylers have had at recent time. You know, it's efficient, it's tidy, it's neat, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Well, for those of you that might not be familiar with the world record in the 100 meters freestyle, it's Cesar Cielo from Brazil. It was set in Rome in 2009, and the mark is 46.91 seconds. And if you don't think that's very rapid, try and go run 2 lots of 50 meters back to back, touch a wall and come back and see how quick it is. But that really is very, very fast, and I think it might be beyond him. John, what's your thoughts?
What, the world record? Yeah, look, but when you've got a 17-year-old improving so rapidly, so dominant in the 200-meter event, then look, you don't put any real limits on what they can achieve, people like that, do you? So he's exactly this. If it's going to break, it's one of the most long-standing world records out there, isn't it? If it's going to be broken, it's going to be broken by exactly that sort of swimmer. And Popovici now comes out, removes his grey T-shirt, white cap, black shorts, which he'll strip off again in just a moment or two. Karen, I'm feeling good about Lewis Burris. The reason being is he's got a PB only 1/100th of a second outside of the British record, which is held by Duncan Scott. If Duncan Scott were in this field, fully fit, fully able, you would expect him to saunter into the final of this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and he's a really exciting prospect considering he's making his debut at these championships as a senior international. He really burst onto the scene at the trials and was pretty unknown before that. So you've got to think that there's a lot of potential in there.
He's in lane 1. If he goes what he did in qualification, 48-49, he will be out of this competition. If he repeats what he did at the British Championships, he'll be fine. Let's see what Lewis Burris can do at his first major international meeting. He was out from underwater way earlier than everybody else and into his stroke. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But Popovici in lane 4 has gone out conservatively. There's a Canadian, Leendo Edwards, who's gone off really, really quick. Now let's see what Lewis Burris can do at the turn. He turns in 3rd place, Karen. He's going for it.
Yeah, he certainly does. He doesn't waste any time underwater. He's up into his stroke. Very powerful stroke, almost a straight arm over the water, which takes a lot of power, but it's working well for him, and he's well in the mix at this point.
Popovici, Leendo Edwards, also Lewis Burris there over on the far side. A line of swimmers in line for 3rd place. Miresi is there as well. Lewis Burris has clung into 3rd. 47.63. That is a wonderful swim, a new British record for Lewis Burris. He has gone quicker than Duncan Scott has ever gone at this distance. Popovici wins it, incidentally, in a new world junior record. He's stacking those up, isn't he? Leendo Edwards for Canada was 2nd, but hats off Lewis Burris, a fabulous swim.
And that puts him 4th going into the final. That was a very fast semi-final there. World junior record from David Popovici. That's about the 3rd or 4th one he's set at these championships. But Lewis Burris has qualified in 4th place for the final of the World Championships, and really not much in it between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, less than a 1/10 of a second. Popovici a little bit half a second or 4/10 clear of the field, and he looked beautiful swimming there, didn't he? Just
really
pulled away in the closing stages and looked as effortless as he did in the 200 freestyle, but superb from Lewis.
It really was. Jacob Whittle has not made the final. He's 12th there out of that semi-final. But a little bit of added bonus for the Hungarian crowd here, Steve. Nemeth, the Hungarian, has tied with the Italian Zazzieri, so there'll be a swim-off at the end of the session to see which one of those goes through to the final. That'll keep a few thousand in, won't it, Lake?
I mean, I feel for the Italian there. He's not going to be getting much love, is he? There's going to be one clear favourite in that swim-off, that's for sure. But just a little bit more on Burris. That was amazing, Karen, from him, and great to see the emotion at the end. He was jumping up and down, slapping the water. That swim was ready to come out on him, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, what a British record to get. It's Duncan Scott's British record. It's superb. I mean, of course it's a massive shame that Duncan's not here to defend or, you know, to make his record even faster and to respond to his record. But, you know, in the absence of Duncan Scott, we now have Lewis Burris stepping up, and that's great depth in British swimming.
You know,
I tell you, Popovici's just gone past Steve, and he's looked up at his coach. The coaches are all assembled just to our right with their tripods and their cameras, and Popovici's just given a very confident thumbs up to his coach. How is Lewis looking to you, Karen, as well? He's looking in pretty good shape, isn't he?
Yes, he is. You know, he didn't look like he was breathing too hard as he walked around. I think, you know, he's a huge opportunity for him now, and of course he went through the US system, so he's used to the races up in the college racing. He's used to stepping up, being up against those guys won't intimidate him, but because it's the bread and butter of racing through the college system. Steve knows himself. He did that himself when he was at university out in the States too, and I think that gives him a confidence when he goes up to race. Of course, he took some time out. He was struggling with his mental health, made a comeback, and here he is breaking British records. What a great story.
Well, we'll look forward to that one tomorrow night. Always great to have someone in the blue ribbon event for the men, the 100 free and 47.6. Really blistering performance there, but there's no time to mess around here because we've got the women's 50 back. Mary Harris going again for Great Britain. And John, there's a theme developing here. It seems like the Brits are missing out on, you know, some of the top medals and they have got a few of their top guys missing. But there is real strength and depth in the team. Lots of activity in semi-finals and finals.
Yeah, that's very true. And two of the three rookies on the team have done really well. Medi Harris being one of them, Lewis Burris another, of course. Freya Colbert hasn't had such a successful game so far, but two of the three have done exceptionally well. Medi Harris, I spoke to her after her swim this morning in the relay. She's held her place in that, incidentally, later on. She will swim the lead-off leg, the backstroke leg for Great Britain against the Americans and the Australians and the Chinese and the Italians a bit later on. But I said to her, look, apart from anything else, she needs to lay down and she needs a bit of relaxation. But she seems to be developing confidence and she seems to be easing herself really nicely into this World Championships. And now can she secure what you'd have thought would be an unlikely place in the final of the women's 50 back? But we're going to see. She's here in lane 3. Katarine Berkoff in lane 4 for the United States, and Regan Smith, already a gold medal winner at these games, is in lane 5, and Kaylee McEwen, the Australian, is in lane number 6 as well. So this is a tremendously strong 50-metre lineup. If Medi can get anywhere near Karen, she'll be doing tremendously well.
Yeah, she certainly will. It was a good start from her. Maaike de Waard of the Netherlands going very, very well, but it's exceptionally close as they go past.
And Medi's in the mix, isn't she, here? Berkoff and Smith definitely ahead of her, the Americans. And McEwen, where's Medi going to finish? She's finished 4th in that semi-final. Medi Harris, the youngster from Swansea, is having a tremendous meeting. She's gone 27.72 there.
Personal best time from her, so great swim. We saw in the final of the 100 backstroke, of course, there was an issue with the starting and the signal for her, the microphone wasn't working on lanes 1 and 2, so she didn't hear the take your marks. So it was very late up, but British Swimming decided not to protest it because she has such a busy programme here. They decided to let it go, see what she could go in the 50 backstroke and the relays that she'll be part of, rather than potentially get her to have to swim that 100 metres backstroke again.
Great to see the Brits going well again there, John, and that gives her every chance of making the final tomorrow night. Just got to wait with bated breath.
She got a chance, hasn't she? All I would say is, though, the personal bests of a lot of the swimmers, most of the swimmers in the next semi-final, are still quicker than Medi's just gone. However, if you compare qualification times, a few of them have got to step up. She is definitely a borderline finalist here. She just needs the rub of the green. We'll see in a few moments' time. Strong lineup. Kylie Moss, lane number 4. She goes here, and Kira Toussaint is a big name for the Netherlands, Karen, but she's in lane number 1 and doesn't seem to be herself so far this week.
No, it's a strange one. She's a 50-metre backstroke specialist, really, but she swam her personal best time on the 100 backstroke, and I just wonder if she's making some changes to her training because the 50 metres backstroke is not an Olympic event. She just looks a little different physically, and she didn't look quite her usual sprinty self as on the 100 metres backstroke. She certainly wasn't. She didn't go out as fast as we're used to seeing her, but she came back a lot better. So perhaps she's just made some changes for her training because of the Olympic programme.
Yep. So Toussaint, the European champion, she took the scalp of Kathleen Dawson in this pool last year. Now that's a big scalp to take, but if she's not on song, she might be vulnerable. She's in lane number 1 here. Ji Shen of China's in lane 2. She's one who you would think would probably go quicker than Medi Harris. And Alia Pigri was very, very good in qualification. She went 27.75. She got a quicker personal best as well. She didn't do so well in the 100-metre event, so she stepped up. Kylie Moss we all know about, don't we? She's the silver medalist from the 100-metre event as well, so obviously she's holding her form well. She's in lane 4. Lane 5 is Ingrid Wilm. Lane 6, Silvia Scala of Italy. Mimosa Yallo of Finland's now 28 and has surely seen better days. She's in lane 7. And a Korean unknown in lane 8. She's only 15. Enuji Lee. She was 11th in the 100-metre event. Could she show some speed as well? So we're all on a bit of a knife edge, really, as the swimmers come out for this, to see if Medi Harris can make another big final.
Absolutely, and unlike in athletics events, it's not 4 from one race and 4 from another race that make it through. It's the 8 fastest, regardless of what semi-final they're in. So really is, these guys have a little bit of an advantage. They know the times of the semi-final before and know exactly what they've got to do. Doesn't necessarily mean they can do it though.
Kylie Moss, though, is the really big name here, of course, for Canada. Lane number 4. She's a world champion in the 100 metres event from the Games in Korea back in 2019. She, at the Olympic Games, she got silver in the 100 and 200 back. Now let's see what she gets in the 50 metre backstroke semi-final. Anybody who can match Moss here will be going very, very well. Be watching Pigri of France closely because she was quick this morning. So here we go, the second semi-final. We are going to know in 45 seconds time or so whether or not Britain's Medi Harris has made another final. They're into the water. Moss, a beautiful exponent of this discipline. She's up there, up slightly later than Vilm of Canada next to her, but the two Canadians looking quite dominant already. And Pigri's there as well.
Yeah, it's pretty close, and Kira Toussaint got away from the wall pretty quickly, but it is the ladies in the middle. It is Mass who's looking the strongest.
So we're looking at Kylie Moss then winning this second semi-final, and she does so in a time of 27.22. 27.72 is the key to watch out for. Has she made it? I think there might be a swim off.
Yeah.
I think we've got another swim off here to be confirmed officially, but it looks, Steve, as though Medi Harris and Silvia Scalia of Italy have posted identical times, which will mean a swim off involving the young Briton a little bit later on.
Poor Medi. Hasn't she got the mixed medley as well? How would that fit in?
She has, yeah. She leads off in that as well. So, wow.
Yeah, because.
But look, my way of thinking, that's tough, isn't it? But my way of thinking is she has had a busy 4 days. Give that mixed medley everything you've got, and then just take your chance in the swim off. I think you've still got to go through it, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's only 19. She can bounce back. She's luckily she's I think a swimmer that is able to do multiple races, and she's shown she's already has a busy program and is still doing personal best time. So absolutely, it'll be she'll give it a best shot in the relay, leading off the relay, and I think she'll want to make up for having that missed opportunity with the dodgy start yesterday in the 100. She's got a chance to really smack down a fast 100 metre time here, and then put that behind her, park it, and get out and swim a fast 50. So,
yeah. And I think, Steve, as well, Medi should be saying, surely, wow, Ian, I didn't expect this, but what a wonderful another extra layer of experience to build into her career. I doubt very much, Steve, whether you or Karen ever had a swim off to take your way into a final.
I
probably didn't want one, but
I had 2 swim-offs, not at world level.
Did you?
And I hate to say, I pulled out of them both. It was.
Oh my goodness! And who were you calling a chicken?
Yeah, no, exactly. But it was, forgive me, it was on a 400 individual medley. Was the first one, and the second one was a 200 fly, and I wasn't feeling very good. So that was my excuse. That was my excuse, Karen. But yeah, 50 back, get in there.
I did it once on 100 freestyle, and then I won the final. But it was only a national event.
But it doesn't matter. It's a different pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Only nationals, only to be the best in the country.
No, not nationals. No, not the nationals. But
Karen,
it was a national.
did you know you were going to win the swim off? Did you know you'd beat the?
I knew I should have not been in the swim off. Put it that way.
Right. Okay. Very good.
I knew I hadn't. I had to pull my finger out. Yeah.
But all joking aside, did you think to yourself, right, I've got to embrace another chance here then?
Yes, absolutely. I hadn't swam well, and it was just an opportunity. And once I was in there, then I just could reset and go for it in the final.
Guys, have we got a different flutist tonight? I mean, there's people on poolside, a drummer, a violinist, a flutist. What is that big thing that looks like an overgrown violin? What's that? Is that a cello?
Double bass? Don't know.
It's quite folky. It's been quite folky,
double
hasn't it?
Producer Fletch is nodding that it's a double bass. I mean, he's saying with some authority, but I mean,
Well, I've got a
Can't
different
vouch for
producer
it.
that's saying cello, so we'll have to. It's producer versus producer for me. We'll get back to you with the really important news of what the instruments are on Poolside, but they are creating some great music. Let's just recap what we've had tonight. I mean, Bobby Fink's just about to get up there. He got an American record in the 800 free, an astounding last 50 metres, real high quality race we got there. So well done, Bobby Fink. Americans on a roll. Women's 200 freestyle, Freya Anderson so close. She just missed out on a medal. She came fourth. Caleb Dressel pulled out of the men's 100 metres freestyle with an updated medical condition. We'll find out more about that later. His week could be in jeopardy, but it didn't dilute the quality of the event at all. Popovici was only 0.2 of a second off the world record, but Lewis Burris for Great Britain, he got the British record. What a quality race that was. And as we've just heard in the last event, Medi Harris, she went in the 50 back. She's in a swim off. Can she make it through to the final tomorrow night? But we're building up now. In about 6 minutes' time, we've got the men's 200 metres butterfly. And I just want to focus on Milak for the moment. Is he the best quality swimmer? And this is a big call, this, Karen. Is he the best quality swimmer in the world at the moment?
Oof. Oh, I mean, he's incredible to watch, and he is a long way ahead in terms of best times than the rest of the field. Do you mean across all events?
I mean, if you had to say who the best swimmer was at the World Championships in Budapest in terms of historic performances, is it him?
In the men's, yes. In the women's, I'd have to go with Katie Ledecky. So across all of it, I think I'd have to give it to Katie Ledecky. But in the men's races, I think, yes, you're right. I think he's incredibly dominant.
And I think Hungary getting 2 bites of the cherry as well, because Thomas Kenderesi also goes in that. So it feels, John, is it? I was hearing rumours that were sold out. Of course, I'm sitting here in Salford, but I was hearing rumours that were sold out in Budapest tonight. Is that the case?
Hey, look, there's 1 or 2 empty seats, but it's far busier than last night, that's for sure. And behind us, which has been the template, really, which is obviously where the majority of the public tickets have gone, Steve. There's not a spare seat to be had. So, yeah, wonderful atmosphere. And they've just given Mikhailo Romanchuk of Ukraine the most generous piece of applause. There are 2 Ukraine team members here on the side of the pool, both waving between them a huge Ukraine flag. And when Romanchuk got his medal and the cameraman picked up the flag, they got a tremendous welcome. But Bobby Fink, the Stars and Stripes of America, lands the gold medal here, and that's the anthem that plays out here in the Duna Arena. Tremendously warm ovation for him, Steve, as well. Yeah, he was given a really warm ovation there, and I think people here realised they saw a real belt of a race earlier on today.
I've covered some track cycling in my time, John, and that race reminds me of the Keirin. You know, where like they're all just hanging off each other, and then it's all about the last lap. Because they seriously had some speed over the last 50 metres, and feels to me like a new way of swimming that 800 metres. But it'll be fascinating to watch over the years. But getting into this 200 metres butterfly, he seems like Milak seems like he's held his cards close to his chest. Johnny swam 152 low in the earlier rounds in the semi-final of that 200 fly. And I'm just casting my mind back to the last World Championships in Jing'ao. Even though he went 150, in the 200 fly. It felt to me like he was disappointed. He looked almost disgusted when he finished the race, and it seemed like he wanted to go something even better.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the extraordinary high standards he sets, Steve. I remember those Ganju Championships well. He beat Seto by 3 seconds. It was quite extraordinary. We were working together there, and your chin hit the floor with that effort, didn't he? Seto hasn't made it through to the final. Chad Leclos was the bronze medalist that day as well, and whilst Chad swam earlier this week, he ducked this event, which is strange, isn't it? Because he's a former world champion himself. Is there to be a threat to Milak? Well, Tomoro Honda is here for Japan, next to Milak again, lane 5, and he was the silver medalist last year in the games in Japan.
Go on then, what odds are you giving Honda, John? Come on, let's be having it, because I've got a few quid here.
I would have thought very small odds to make the medals again, but to beat Milak, no, you can't see it happening, can you? But do you know what's interesting though, Steve? Léon Marchand, the medley swimmer, lane 6 for France, so impressive in the medley. He won the gold in the 400 individual medley in great style. He's improving at a rate of knots, and I think he's the likely one to finish second here, if I'm honest.
Well, he's coached, isn't he, by Michael Phelps' old coach, and his programme is looking a lot like Michael Phelps's as well, because not only does he go in the 200 fly tonight, but he's also going in the 200 IM. Now, that is a really tough double, to do a 200 fly and then follow up within 40 minutes and do a 200 metres individual medley. And I think that was the hardest part of Michael Phelps's programme, midweek trying to do that. So let's see how he goes there.
Yeah. What are your expectations then, Steve? I know I'm putting you on the spot for James Guy, who's in lane number 8 here, and he's coming out first. Listen to the crowd, because it's gone dark here and they know Milak's on his way shortly. But James Guy, Steve, will be one of the first ones out onto the pool, lane 8.
Well, there's quite a simple equation for me, John, and that's this guy, James Guy, has won a 200-metre race at the World Championships, and he's got the speed as well. It could be his.
Well, Guy's out on the pool deck, and he comes out confidently waving to the crowd. Alberto Razzetti is the next one to appear, lane number 1. He also swam the 400-metre individual medley earlier on in the week. Didn't make the final there. A Hungarian roar for Tamas Kenderisi. Lane 7 for the 25-year-old, the 9th fastest man in history. His personal best, though, 3 seconds slower than Milak. Luca Rolando swam well this week. He set a personal best back in 2019. And we welcome 5 live listeners to the Duna Arena, Budapest, for the men's 200-metre butterfly final. And Tony, the athletes are just being introduced to the crowd. There was just a huge cheer for Tamas Kenderisi, the Hungarian, but the most famous Hungarian of the lot, Christoph Milak, will be out very shortly. Red-hot favourite to supplement his astonishing win in the last World Championships and his equally brilliant win in the Olympic Games here tonight with another victory. He's a big favourite. Tomoro Honda's just out now for Japan. He was silver medalist at the Olympic Games. He's in lane 5. No Ponti is out, and now it is Milak time. Christoph Milak then took down Michael Phelps' world record in eye-popping style in Gwangju. Karen Pickering, the crowd absolutely adore him here, don't they?
Oh, they really do. I mean, they love their swimming, and they have a huge hero here in Christoph Milak to support. And you know, it's a packed house. There are people who are sitting in line with the diving pit, trying to get a view of Christoph Milak bring a gold medal back for Hungary in this 200 butterfly. He is out and out the favourite. You know, his best time some 3 seconds faster, and it might take a while to quieten this crowd down for the start.
I feel like we're watching Ferencváros instead of swimming. It's an amazing atmosphere. And James Guy for Britain's just trying to shut it all out in lane number 8. He's just nodding to himself. I think he likes it. He feeds off the big race atmosphere, doesn't he, James Guy?
I have to say, but you know, if he's going to take the race on, I can see it. He's just splashing himself down with water as he does just before he gets on the blocks. But that was some deep breaths puffing up his chest. He looks ready.
To remind you that earlier Freya Anderson just missed out on a medal, 4th in the 200 metres freestyle. This is James Guy's chance. He has never swum the 200 butterfly at a major world meet before. Of course, he has a staggering array of medals all over his chest from other games, European Championships, Olympic Games. He's a former world champion as well in the freestyle. But here goes James Guy, the first length of the pool, and he's trying to stay with Milak in the early stages. James Guy could easily turn second here. Has he gone off too hard? He is second, Karen.
Well, this is what we expected from James Guy, but Christoph Milak is 0.4 of a second under world record pace. He absolutely means business here in this final. We're used to him just sitting back a little bit and coming through strong. Not tonight. He is a body length clear.
He's extraordinary. Christoph Milak coming to halfway. He's nearly 2 metres clear of James Guy, who is still in second place, and he's now a second inside world record pace. We are on the edge, potentially, of one of the most astonishing performances ever seen in a swimming pool by the Hungarian Christoph Milak, who at the moment has daylight back to his rivals. He seems to have the whole of Budapest roaring him on. He's got one more turn to go. There is no sign at all of him slowing up. He makes the turn over a second in front of his own world record, which he took from Michael Phelps, a record we thought would stand forever. Meanwhile, James Guy's battling on with Kenderisi and Honda and Marchand to try and cling on to a medal. But the roar you can hear is for Christoph Milak, who is 4 or 5 metres clear. I'm afraid to say that James Guy is now wilting. He's given it everything, but the medal's going to evade him. The gold goes to Hungary. Milak wins it in 1:50.34. He has taken the world record apart. Leon Marchand second for France. Third place goes to Tamura Honda of Japan, and those early exertions for James Guy of Great Britain, who turned for home in second place, paid heavy, and he has weakened well out of the medals. But a quite extraordinary display by Christoph Milak of Hungary, who has just taken down the world record to the delight of thousands here in Budapest.
Just what an unbelievable performance there, John. I mean, 1 minute and 50.3. He was in his own race, wasn't he? There was just nobody around him.
We're struggling to hear you, Steve. So deafening are the roars around us. But I'm just looking around just to capture the delight on people's faces from maybe occasional swimming spectators. And there are those who have been here before. We're surrounded by press and coaches who are just looking on pretty much in disbelief as to what they've just seen from Milak. You asked a short while ago, Steve, whether or not he is the best swimmer all across all events. I've very, 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 very seldom witnessed something quite like that, Karen. Can you put that into something more contextual?
Yeah, I mean, you know, his best time with his world record was already 3 seconds quicker than anyone else had been. And now he's lowered that even more. I mean, he dragged Leon Marchand to another personal best time, the Frenchman who was wonderful in the 400 individual medley. He's done another French record by a second again. But Christoph Milak, that was extraordinary. He's now holding a giant check, the prize money for a world record that FINA have put up for any world record here at these championships, $50,000 US. So that will certainly have been on his mind in the closing stages. But I've never seen him swim a race quite like that. You know, we're used to seeing him very, very strong in the back half of the race, but he just took that race out.
You know,
it was extraordinary.
This is my home.
He's just momentarily overwhelmed there. We'll leave him to it.
The pool belongs to me, the lane 4 belongs to me. So I have 4,000 amazing people here who watch me. I couldn't let them down.
You didn't let them down. Our heart is with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Krzysztof Linak, world champion and world recorder.
Wow, that was fantastic. I'll never ever in my life forget Michael Phelps's individual medley in Rio, which was quite extraordinary. But that's right up there, Karen, isn't it? That.
Yeah, it was the manner of the way he just took the field apart in that race. And you know, as the swimmers were swimming down their third 50, they looked up to breathe on each stroke. They would have barely been able to see his feet out in front. You know, I know that it's expected. He's a great swimmer, and you expect he'll be out ahead, but that would have been so off-putting.
Been some amazing swims tonight, guys. Bobby Fink and that back end on that freestyle, but also Milak there, 2.5 seconds quicker than the great Michael Phelps ever went. I mean, it's extraordinary and really hard to get your head around.
Steve, if we'd said to you maybe over a beer 2-3 years ago that there was a chance of a men's 200 fly swimmer going under 150. He's not done that, obviously. He's gone 150.3. But going under 150, you would have said that I'd had a few beers too many, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it is a freestyle time. 150 is a freestyle time. He's touching with his hands. He's coming back. I'm finding it hard to compute how he's put that swim together. He's going out in 51 seconds. You know, and we were just saying only 2 days ago, Tom Dean was crazy to go out in 50 seconds. You know, but he's not even turning to his feet. So he is rewriting how to swim this event, and he's an extraordinary talent. And you can see what it means to him as well, the way he was speaking to that crowd in Hungary. I mean, you've said it, John, that this will be a moment that I remember. One of the highlights of all the great swims that I've seen over the years. Absolutely brilliant. There's just a note on James Guy. I'm not sure if you guys have got the stats coming through, but he did a Tom Dean, didn't he? He went out way too hard.
Which was exactly what he did in the semi, Karen. I thought he would try and fine-tune that and be a little bit more subtle, but he swam exactly the same way, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's a bit of inexperience. I think in his mind, he feels that's the only way he can swim that race, is to take it out fast. But there was absolutely nothing. I mean, in the last sort of 20 metres, the whole field went past him. So he sort of went from second to 8th in a matter of metres. On the final 50.
I get having guts and living up to your name for being gutsy, but is there a point where it becomes a bit naive?
A little bit. I mean, there's an element of you don't know what you can bring it home in until you actually take it out too fast. You know, you don't know your limitations until you get it wrong. And in the semi-final, I think he was about right. I think he did a best time, and he was about on it. It was about the last 5 metres that he was struggling. So you'd like to think in a final, if he'd gone the same splits in the last, 10 so metres, he could really dig in. And 5 metres to the wall, when it starts to hurt, you're in a final. It's bigger than that, and you can really dig in and get through it. But he was struggling, for way before that, and then there's just no way back. Steve, on butterfly, when it starts to go and you can barely get your arms out of the water, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, no, it's believe me, I've been there many a time, and it does not feel good. But I'm struggling to get my breath back from your guys' commentary on that. It was just, it was an extraordinary evening. And we expect, don't we, post-Olympic Games, for the meet to be a little bit slower. But I think that's our second world record of the meet. And it just goes to show how the sport always moves on, Karen. It isn't the Caleb Dressel show. There are you know, there are other people there that want that mantle of the world's best swimmer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously Milak wanted to do something special in front of the crowd, and he talked about the 4,000 people here. There are 4,000 people who will not forget what they just saw, and you know, it's an amazing thing for them to have been here to see. So you know, there's different reasons why people will be stepping up, and there's always people coming through. There's the swimmers that, you know, are wanting to put right the wrongs of 12 months ago. There are the youngsters coming through who are just chomping at the bit to get on the world stage. You know, all the different swimmers have their different reasons, and while some people sit the competition out, there is someone else just waiting to get up on the podium.
Brilliant. Let's hear from 100 freestyler from the semi-finals. Lewis Burris, he swam a British record of 47.63, finished in 4th place. This was his reaction after getting to the final.
Great swim, yeah. I mean, this morning did the job, got through, and I just saw my best work in the outside lanes. Really enabled me to just chase the process. It's a great field, world junior record, but I'm happy to have my name in the conversation.
And a new British record as well. You must be absolutely stoked with that.
Yeah, we got a British record in the 4x1 2 nights ago, and it's my second one of the meet. I'm absolutely thrilled, and I just want to thank, you know, everyone that's helped me get here. They know who they are, so couldn't have done it without you guys.
And you'll go to bed tonight dreaming about a world final.
First time I'll be dreaming about that, but yeah, it's a free hit tomorrow night. Go have fun with it.
And what will your approach be to that final? Just try and stay nice and relaxed and enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, a year ago for me, a successful day was getting out of bed and showering. It's been a long journey with my mental health, but tomorrow night, be fearless and have fun with it and keep chasing the dream.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
That was Lewis Burris speaking to Paul Fletcher after his 100-metre freestyle British record. Karen, I'm not familiar with his with the stories around his mental health struggles. Is there any further information you can share with us on that?
Yeah, a little bit. He was based in the US in the college system, and then a couple of years ago he started to really struggle with his mental health and took some time out. And he started training with Zoe Baker. He got back in the pool and did some training with her, and he really credits her with actually saving his life to some degree.
Wow.
And when she took a new job in Australia, he's followed her out there to train with her. I think it's Western Australia she's going. So, you know, he really turned his life around with the help of swimming, and now is able to kind of reap those rewards. So it's a really, thankfully, a really positive story.
Well, let's hope he really does a job tomorrow night. Sounds to me like he's had a struggle there. Just another one for you, Karen. Sorry, I'm giving you all the tough topics tonight. Swimming's ban on transgender athletes for anyone that's been through male puberty it looks like that's the standard now. As rugby, athletics and football, they're leaning the same way in the last couple of days, and the likes of Sharon Davis, who's been a big advocate on this issue, it says she's really proud of swimming and the standard that they've set. Your reaction on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that FINA historically haven't necessarily been the greatest advocate for athletes and haven't really listened to the voice of athletes and particularly looked after the athletes. But there's a new president and it seems to be changing, and I think it was bold of them to be the first international governing body to come out with a real definitive policy that protects female sport. And you know, I think it's not surprising now that other sports feel empowered to be a bit more decisive in the policies that they're setting themselves.
Brilliant, thanks, Karen. Italy on a hot streak, have been during this meet, and they got another chance as well now in this men's 50 breaststroke. Of course, no Adam Peaty, as if we haven't talked about that enough. But that provides opportunity for Martin Engi, John, who's already won the 100. And is it fair to say he's the favourite in this event?
Yeah, absolutely. Although Nick Fink could be very dangerous. Both those two, incidentally, for Italy and the United States, will swim in the mixed medley relay a little bit later on. But yeah, I think Martin Engi will really fancy his chances, Steve. Martin Engi, he was third behind Adam Peaty and Shimanovic in the European Championships here last year. Just a footnote, incidentally, from the women's 200 metre freestyle final. Just a small observation with regard to COVID. We as visiting press had to take a PCR test, a COVID test, when we got here to allow us to come to the venue. I'm assuming the athletes had to take some sort of test as well, and the crowd most certainly did not. But it's interesting when the two Chinese athletes went up to the podium, Muhan Tang and Yang, who pick up their medals, of course, both were fully masked. And they're the only athletes, the only people in Budapest I've actually seen with masks on. Interesting though, Karen, just from a wider societal observation, to see the Chinese, who clearly still have quite big issues back home, still taking COVID really, really seriously and thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, it's obviously every country is still in sort of in different measures, and in China they're still pretty tight on masks, etc. So I suppose that it is right, when the athletes on the stage are going to be filmed, that they look like they're complying with that too.
50-metre breaststroke final then coming up. Adam Peaty sadly having to watch on from the sidelines. 3 times world champion, of course, in this event. But lane 1 is Right Chammer of Austria. Lane 2, Cerasulo of Italy. Lane 3 is Nick Fink of the United States. Niccolò Martinenghi, lane number 4 for Italy. Michael Andrew, lane 5. Lucas Matzerath of Germany, lane 6. Zibeyan is in lane 7 for China. And Felipe Silva of Brazil, who is aged 35, he's in lane number 8. Here we go. Into the water they go then. Fink and Martinenghi both so quick. So too is Michael Andrew. Michael Andrew alongside Martinenghi. Fink giving it plenty in the early stages. Fink ahead at halfway, I would have thought, as they now move on to the final 15 metres. Fink, Martinenghi in line with Michael Andrew. Any one of these three could still win this. There's 5 metres to go. Martinenghi just forcing home in the middle of the pool as they head up towards the line, but Fink got the touch. Nick Fink is home to win the 50-metre breaststroke for the United States, and he's won it by 3/100ths of a second from Martinenghi, the silver medalist, and Michael Andrew back in 3rd with the bronze medal. Right Chammer was 4th. Cerasulo of Italy finishing in 5th place. One of the closest finishes to a final we've seen so far this week, Karen.
Oh yeah, that was very exciting, and that was all about who was going to spot the finish the best. Michael Andrew started the quickest. He's very up on top of the water, quick with his stroke, and very powerful upper body on each of the arm pulls, but just in the closing stages he dropped off a tiny little bit as Nick Fink powered forward. I thought Martinenghi might still just get his hands on the wall first, but a little bit more of a reach for him, and Fink absolutely smashed it to perfection.
He was my fancy, wasn't he?
He was, you said.
Well, he swam his first 50 in the 100-metre event so quickly. He looked a natural. So Nick Fink, really pleased for him. He's gone and won a real big one here at the World Championships, and by and large the Americans are having a terrific meet, aren't they? Who needs Caleb Dressel, Karen?
Yeah, Caleb who?
I wonder what Adam Peaty's thinking back home, gang, watching that. Good half a second slower than what he can do. Will he? I mean, what do you think his reaction is, Karen? I mean, clearly he had an opportunity to go on a streak like Michael Phelps did, winning, a 4th event in a 4th championship rather in 2 events. Do you think it will be really hurting him, or has he done so much he might not be that bothered?
I think the competitor in him will hate that he's not in that race. I'll just say that there's a judging review going on at the moment, so the results haven't become official yet, because they do go back and check the starts, make sure none of the swimmers were doing the additional butterfly kick off the wall. So we will wait to see and make sure those results are official. But yeah, Adam is an out-and-out competitor, isn't he? He would have wanted to be in there. I think he'll be pleased, relieved that no one's challenging his world record and he's not there to defend it, because that would be really frustrating. But I think he would, of course, love to be here and be winning another world title.
It's exciting. It's exciting. This guy's waiting to find out what's going on with this video review. As John said, it is like VAR, isn't it? Do we have a result?
The results. Yeah, the results are official now, and it is Nick Fink with the gold, Martinenghi silver, and Michael Andrew
Huge
with the bronze
the
medal.
world champion. In the last 5 or 6 meters, it was still someone ahead of you. How did you see that from inside?
I didn't see it.
I kind of went black for a lot of it, and I didn't know what was happening. So I knew the strategy was just to go, and yeah, it was go the whole time. I knew the rest of the heat was going to be there. So yeah, I just got my hand on the wall first, I guess.
Okay, so it seems the strategy worked. Ladies and gentlemen, our new world champion. Congratulations.
Do you know what, guys? I'd love to hear more from the athletes. You know, Budapest has got a lot right, but I don't think it's got its post-race interviews right. You know, I mean, there is at least 2 or 3 more questions we could have spoke to him about there, don't you think?
Probably would have been nice, but then I think all the press waiting to hear from the athletes would start to get a bit cross. So you know, obviously when the swimmers finish, they have to go through the mix zone. There are lots of cameras, and then you have the radio, and then you have the written press, and they have to work their way through, weave their way through. And for a gold medalist, would probably get stopped by more than just his home nation. So they've probably been told 1 or 2 questions and then let them go.
Well, they have got a lot right, Budapest, and what on earth is going on now?
Katinka's in town, Steve, for the first semi-final of the women's 200-metre butterfly. Katinka Hosszu comes out. She'll occupy lane number 1. To reiterate, these will be her final games on home soil. And in contrast, she's 33. Lana Pudar of the Bahamas has just walked out so timidly, almost unnoticed, to head to lane 7. She's just 16, half Katinka Hossu's age. Hopefully she'll have a little bit of the success that Katinka has had in her career. And Laura Stevens for Great Britain also out next. She'll be in lane 2. Her personal best of 2:07.04 was not in any way matched by her heat swim. She's made the semi-final, Karen, but we should point out that there were only 3 heats for this, so to have not made the semi-final would have been disastrous for her.
Yeah, it's one of the events that is real lacking in depth internationally, and we've seen in the last few major championships they've almost struggled to get enough swimmers to make it necessary to have heats and a semi-final. So 200 fly swimmers out there, take note. It's a good event to get onto the world stage on.
Yufei Zhang has just come out for China. Hallie Flickinger as well for the United States. She looked pretty good this morning, as you would expect. There's an Australian, Elizabeth Deckers as well, number 5, who's very new on the scene too. And one of those completing the lineup as well is Helena Bach of Denmark, a 22-year-old in lane number 6. When they walk out, it's in effective darkness, isn't it? But then when the action starts, the lights go full on, Karen. It catches me out every time. It's quite startling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty bright when it does come out, and I'm sure the swimmers will notice it as well.
So here we go, the women's 200-metre butterfly, first semi-final. Laura Stevens in lane number 2. I would be, how should we couch this? I would be very happily surprised if she makes it through to the final. I don't see enough spark in her so far this week to expect her to go through, but you never know. She's right next to Katinka Hosszu over on the far side. One thing about Laura, though, she did get a really good start. Underwater, though, Hosszu very fast away, and Yufei Zhang is also really quick to get going too. Yufei Zhang, the Olympic champion, and she beat Regan Smith in Tokyo last year. And given what Regan's already done at this meeting, that was some performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and silver medalist in the 100 butterfly as well. So she's got some speed as well as the endurance over the 200 metres, and she is by some distance ahead of the field, about a body length clear in the early stages of this semi-final. So she's really laying down a marker, and Laura Stevens will be able to see her. So the action going on right there, and Laura at the moment going well.
She is. She's right up there alongside Hallie Flickinger, disputing second place at the moment. So come on, Laura. She's got Yufei Zhang to aim at, who has gone off really, really quick. Laura's going to turn here at halfway in 3rd place. That's my guess. And she is confirmed as 3rd. She's got back, and the youngster from the Bahamas, Pudar, trying to snap away at her. If Laura can hold this together, then she could easily make the final. I'm expecting Elizabeth Dekkers, though, to close. The Australian. She looked quite good this morning, struggling so far to recapture that form.
Zhang is really struggling now, though. That early pace has taken its toll, which is great for Laura Stevens. She will be able to sense that. It will give her a lift to chase her down and try and go past her, as Hallie Flickinger now, with 50 metres to go, takes the lead. She is the fastest in the world this year, and she's showing just why. Paced it much better. And Laura Stevens now getting into a scrap with Zhang of China.
Yeah, and Zhang weakening. Flickinger out in front this semi-final. Laura Stevens is alongside Zhang. Zhang battling back as anticipated. Dekkers finishing well. So too out in lane number 7 is young Pudar. What a swim from her. And sadly, late on, Laura Stevens weakens. It's been a bit of a feature, this. She's dropped back to finish only 6th. And now, quite literally, her final hopes hang by a thread. But that was a strong swim from Hallie Flickinger of the United States. Lana Pudar, great swim in 2nd place for the Bahamas. She's made the final. Zhang, that was a crazy swim from her in 3rd. Dekkers was 4th. She'll have to wait, together with Helena Bach and Laura Stevens. Well, if there's any consolation, she's beaten Katinka Hosu, and the Japanese Miyaguchi was last in that semi-final. So lots to ponder. Strange race to watch, wasn't it? What was Zhang doing?
That was a really strange tactics of Zhang, and my goodness, the painful way to swim a 200 butterfly. And we've said that a few times, haven't we? So, you know, that was a really tough swim. And just watching as the swimmers leave the poolside now, and I really thought that Laura Stevens was going to really fight back there. She had the opportunity to really work hard against Zhang. A much better swim from Laura Stevens than her heat time, and closer to the best that she set last year. But still, her best time would probably have seen her through to the semi-final.
Hosu walking out, getting a great cheer. She's waving to the crowd. All a little bit sad, though, isn't it? It seems the game's too far for her. She's nowhere near her imperious best. Look, listen to this. Is reception behind is what you can hear for this much-loved athlete, Katinka Hosu, age 33, is going out, I'm afraid, with a whimper in terms of form.
I mean, it's tough events to be doing in your mid-30s, though, isn't it, John? It's all very well and good being Santos at 42 doing one-length freestyle, but, you know, to be knocking in 200 flies. But how can she say no, John, to a home World Championships? It's just so appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, Steve. I fully get that. It's just when you think back to the days when she used to take on Siobhan Marie O'Connor, they had some fair old scraps, didn't they? But that seems half a lifetime ago. It's just quite sad to see her trailing so far back in a semi-final, Steve.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Zhang there. Zhang didn't walk through the press. She kind of cut through, and was wondering why. She was sort of jogging a little bit and cut through, but she'll be swimming in the mixed medley relay later on. I mean, she's going to need to do a bit of a swim down after that after that 200 to recover in time for the mixed medley relay, and she'll be swimming. She's swimming in that.
Yeah, she'll be going up against James Guy. She'll be going up against James Guy very, very shortly. So that's one that's been softened up for James. Great news. Next out, though, the second semi, the action coming thick and fast. Regan Smith, the gold medalist in the 100 back, is here for the 200 butterfly. Summer McIntosh was the silver medalist in the 400 free behind Katie Ledecky right at the start of the week. She's in lane number 4, and the Hungarians will love the fact that Borglaka Kapas is here as well, age 29. She's in lane 6. She just got a great cheer. So there's some of the main players in this second semi-final. A real mixed bag in terms of swimmers who've got a great deal of versatility.
Yeah, of course, Regan Smith, better known as a backstroker. It was some surprise when she swam the butterfly at the Olympic trials last year to qualify to swim that in the and then picked up the silver medal in the event, and it took some people by surprise to see her do that. But Summer McIntosh, a tremendous talent, swam in Tokyo as a 14-year-old, and silver medal, as you said, in the 400 freestyle, good at medley, and you can see good at butterfly too.
Now Summer was pretty aggressive in the qualification heat. I just wonder if she'll temper that a little bit, or again go for broke. So very interesting. She's quite slight, lane 4. She's got a bright red swimsuit on. Summer McIntosh, age 15 of Canada. Certainly one of the rising stars in the sport, male and female. She came out of the water very early, though, compared to some of the others.
She did, but she was very, very slow off the block. Got left there a little bit, but was up into her stroke, and it hasn't pushed her too far behind on this 200 butterfly. Leah Polunsky of Israel going well in the very early stages, but Summer McIntosh starting to make her mark as she leads at 50.
So it is McIntosh ahead of Regan Smith, and then Hayashi of Japan in 3rd place. Zhu of China is in 4th, and Matacoko of Mexico is in 5th position at this relatively early stage. Kapas is down the field for Hungary, lane number 6. When you think about what she's achieved over the years, Borgaka Kapas, she used to swim against Ledecky and Jazz Carlin, didn't she, in those grueling distance events? So even this grueling 200-metre butterfly, maybe not a sufficient test of stamina for her.
No, she always picked the hardest events to race, and multi-eventer when she was at her best. But this is turning into a nice little battle between Summer McIntosh of Canada and Regan Smith of the USA, the two girls in the centre lanes of the pool. Regan Smith trying to get back on terms with the youngster, but it is still Summer McIntosh holding her off.
Now it's interesting this, Summer McIntosh trying to fend off Regan Smith. They're going to make the final turn. Summer is the quickest in the world this year. She's gone quicker than Hallie Flickinger. They're 1 and 2 coming into these championships. Flickinger's just gone 2:05.90. What's Summer McIntosh going to deliver? And she'll be spurred on now because she can feel Regan Smith right alongside her, Karen.
Yeah, Regan Smith is working hard. She has great underwater work on her turn. She's working hard to get on terms with her, but Summer McIntosh, she's picked up a gear again.
Fantastic, and the crowd are roaring because Borglaka Kapas has made her way from 6th place to 3rd and is still closing quite rapidly on Regan Smith. But Summer McIntosh touches first. Kapas was 3rd, Regan Smith was 2nd. The winning time 2:05.79. So Summer McIntosh has gone quicker than Flickinger. A great swim from her, very courageous swim as well. She went out fairly quick, was strongly challenged and kicked in again. I love the way she did that.
Yeah, that was a great swim. When she was challenged, she still had another gear to find, and that was impressive, and a world junior record from the 15-year-old. So a super swim from her. We've seen a few of these world junior records here at these championships. There's some fantastic young swimmers coming through. This is now a pretty mouth-watering prospect for a final, way off the world record, I have to say, which is was set, back in 2009 of 2:01.81. That's an extraordinary time that was set by Liu of China back then, but it's going to be a great race.
And there's going to be a great roar in a minute, Steve, because Borglaka Kapas has qualified for the final. The crowd don't know that yet, but she's 8th quickest. The lineup for the final will be McIntosh, Flickinger, Regan Smith, Pudar, the youngster from the Bahamas, 4th to qualify. Great swim. Zhang, great Tekas from Deckers, the Australian, in 6th. Bach in 7th and Kapas in 8th. That means that Laura Stevens misses out. She's 10th quickest. And there's the official result coming through. Summer McIntosh followed quickly by the summary, and the crowd can see that Kapas has made the final, and they're just registering there. It's gone down well.
Yeah, it has. And just to note, that if Laura Stevens had swam her best time, she would have qualified 3rd for that final. So, those margins.
I feel like we've heard that a couple of times tonight. Karen, is it a theme now developing on the British team?
Well, I think, there are some swimmers who are rising, the likes of Medi Harris and Laura Stevens, who, set her best time last year, but we haven't seen her step up again since, and she needs to really, you know, make another move, and I'd like to see her at least swimming close to her best time, about 1.5 seconds outside, albeit much better than she swam in the heats.
Well, I've got a bit of audio to play in a bit from John after he spoke to the guys on the 4x100 medley, but I don't think we can come away, John, from this men's 200 metres butterfly victory ceremony if you think we've got time to do them both.
I think so, yeah. There's going to be a little bit of time. We're going to get some folk music first, aren't we? And
the double bass.
And the bronze and silver medalists will take a bit of time as well. I think you've got time before we herald Milak.
All right, well, let's have a listen to your interview this morning with the guys from the 4x100 mixed medley relay.
Well, James, we'll come to you first. Qualification secured. That was good. You were running down Lily King there in the heat. It's a strange event, isn't it?
It is a very strange event. You know, there's a lot to it, a lot of tactics potentially there, but it's one, you know, as a country we really enjoy. You know, kind of a newish team here, exploring some new stuff. You know, we really strongly believe in the relays and that team effect in Britain, and you know, going up towards Paris, it's something that we're going to double down on more than we did for Tokyo. So yeah, it should be really exciting.
Jacob, you've gone 51.4. You must be pleased with your work this morning.
Yeah, buzzing. I just saw my split up there on the screen. Gives me a lot of confidence ready for the individual on Thursday. Glad we could do the job ready for Jimmy Guy to come in later, and I'm sure the team later will absolutely smash it.
And Mehdi, you've been so busy, you need to lie down, don't you?
Yeah, it was exciting after my 50 this morning, so I'm really happy with the time considering everything that was going on.
And Anna, finally to you, you've been here, of course, and won the biggest medals on the biggest stages with a different team, of course. We know Duncan and Adam not here, and Kathleen. How are you approaching this event now with all the experience you have?
Well, I think it's actually really good for the team, like to try different people, and you know, in the future we want to have enough depth to be able to rest people in heats and bring in a new team for the final. So that's what this Worlds is all about. It's just trying new tactics, and you know, if we can still win medals with a different team, then it bodes really well for the future.
You've gone 53.1 there. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you know, I'm hoping over the week I can keep building through and my time's getting faster, but yeah, that's pretty good for this time of year.
It's like watching a washing machine event from the sidelines. What it's like to swim in it, I don't really know, but we were watching the Italians closely, thinking they might struggle to qualify. They've just crept in, though. They're going to be a strong team, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like chaotic until the end. Like, when you're waiting to go in, there's no point really seeing what places everyone's in because it's going to change so quickly. You just got to focus on yourself, really, and hopefully get in the final.
Well, John with the questions there, and John informing us what's going on in the Duna Arena.
Milak's just stood up to the applause of the crowd here. The gold medalist in a new, pretty sensational world record time. And Karen, just to help us sum up this atmosphere, everybody standing up around us as well. It's a special moment for those who've decided to come and watch some high quality swimming. They knew they were going to get a real good show from Christophe Milak. What they got though was a display of extraordinary technique and power and speed. One of the most devastating swims I've ever seen, and I know Steve vouched for that as well. Christophe Milak then is the world champion in home waters, and it is now the Hungarian national anthem that we celebrate. when you think of the great traditions of Hungarian swimming. In this event in particular, you think of the great Laszlo Shea from not too many years ago becoming world champion at the Russian Games in Kazan of 2015, and Christoph, of course, in Gwangju the last time around too, in South Korea. But Karen, what a moment for him on home soil to do what he did tonight. Amazing.
Yeah, that was superb, and I had to take my headphones off for a moment when he went up onto the podium. The noise was absolutely deafening, and to hear the crowd singing along to the national anthem as well, really, really special moment. And you know, people often say, you know, it's great to go to travel as part of your sport, but my goodness, when you get to compete at a home championship or a home games and do that in front and feel like every single person in the stadium is there to support you, that's a wonderful feeling.
And he's now coming down from the podium, which is pretty high up towards the one end of the pool. He will now come past, quite literally, dozens of family members and, more importantly, thousands of well-wishers in the crowd. And if he continues to do what he's doing at the moment, high-fiving everybody he passes, we better just ask for a little bit of extension to our coverage tonight. We'll be finished about midnight, Steve, I reckon, by the time Milak's finished.
Don't worry, we're only a couple of minutes over so far, but I can see what you're saying, John. Is it Pat Cash-esque what he's doing here, or is he a little bit more reserved?
I'd say a little bit more reserved. He's not leapt into the crowd, but everybody will want, if they can, to say well done. They'll want a photo, and it's just a magic moment for him, isn't it? Where's Milak now disappeared to? He has actually moved forward into the crowd, hasn't he, rather than come down the steps?
Wrapped in a flag with he's in amongst his team, and I think he was hugging his coach a moment ago. He's now got the flag round him, holding his flowers. Oh, they love that. There's the picture.
But my point is, Steve, he's moved about 5 yards so far, and he's got 3 sides of the pool to do yet.
Hey, why not milk it, John? I mean, if you're going to threaten 150 and the 200 fly, set an astonishing world record like that in your home pool, you might as well drape yourself in the flag and milk it for all it's worth.
He looks emotional, doesn't he? Very emotional. He's taking it all in, looking round, looking at everyone. He's really making the most of this, because it's not often you set a world record, destroy the field in your own pool.
Lovely scenes, quite magical scenes here for the Hungarian. He's now working his way. He's about 20 metres from our position, Steve, here, poolside. He's just stopped again, and that is where there must be 36 photographers, all from different parts of the world, all just craning, trying to get their lenses to take that snapshot of this extraordinary world champion, Christoph Milak, whose image will now be projected across websites the worldwide, of course. He's embracing now Honda, the Japanese, who of course tried so hard to beat him, but that proved to be impossible. And now, by way of almost prompting him to just get a little bit of a move on, they've dimmed the lights again and put up the fact that the men's 200 individual medley semi-final is our next event. But at the moment, there's no budging Milak. He's not moving.
No, and of course they're missing one of the medalists, Léon Marchand, the silver medalist from the 200 butterfly. He's had to quickly slip away because he is in the next event, the 200 individual medley semi-finals. He's in the second semi-final, thankfully for him, so he'll get a moment to compose himself, but he's missing out on all those photos.
I've never seen this before. Milak's still poolside, Steve, as Tom Dean's coming out for his semi-final, and they've obviously just got to get on with the show, haven't they? And the swimmers are out now for the next race.
Do you know what it's like, John? It's like the Oscars. You know when they start the music up to try and get them off because they're giving too big a flagging speech. You can take the hint, Milak. Come on, get yourself off. But Tom Dean now, he's got to take the learnings from the other day, not go out too fast on this 200 IM, do the job and make the final for tomorrow night, hasn't he?
Well, you make it sound simple, Steve. Look, I'll always try and be realistic, and I'll always try and be enthusiastic when I can be, but I thought he looked laboured earlier, Karen. I think he's up against it here.
Yeah, it's a tricky event for him. I mean, it's not very experienced at it for a start. So, you know, in some ways it's exciting to see what he can do. I think he will be jaded after his performance yesterday, and disappointed as well from his 200 freestyle performance. And, you know, that always makes it tough to bounce back. And as much as this probably seemed like a great idea at the trials and looking ahead, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little part of him that was the slight regrets when he had to get up this morning and swim the heats of a 200 medley.
We can't go on lamenting Duncan Scott's absence, but it's worth reminding you perhaps that he was the silver medalist last year, Duncan. So wherever he is, watching on from home, I see it's interesting today of all days that Duncan's been helping to promote safe swimming back home. Nearly 300 people died through drowning last year, Karen, and Duncan has got right behind this week of safe swimming, particularly in Scotland, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's great news to be able to do that.
So this first semi-final, men's 200 IM, Tom Dean in lane number 1, Lewis Clareburt lane 2 of New Zealand, 3 is Hubert Koz of Hungary, Chase Kalish is in lane number 4, the world bronze medalist from last time around. Next to him, the current world champion, Daya Sato of Japan, lane 5. Alberto Rossetti of Italy is in lane number 6. He would have thought he had a chance of making the Italian mixed medley team later on tonight, but Ciccone and Martinenghi got the nod ahead of him. Then we have Lee of Australia in lane 7, Hugo Gonzalez of Spain in lane number 8, and this punishing individual medley then is underway. And Tom Dean of Great Britain is in lane number 1 through the fly discipline. He's going to turn now, and he turns in 4th place. Not a bad start.
No, pretty good start there from Tom Dean. Good underwater work as he pops up on the backstroke leg. Sato, very good, strong backstroke. He's working that very hard, and also going well. Koz of Hungary, very different style of backstroke swimming, smooth, head still, slow arm rate, but very effective.
I think Tom Dean's going to drop back, maybe 6th or 7th for Tom Dean with 2 disciplines left to go. Yep, he's only quicker than one man. He's ahead of Rossetti, but nobody else into the breaststroke. Tom then, he has got a personal best of 157.1. He went 159.4 in qualification. Clearly got work to do. The data tells us that, and the visuals tell us that as well. He's working hard on this breaststroke. Is he making any inroads though?
Yeah, he is, and obviously he should have a good final leg, but it is the 3 swimmers in the middle of the pool, not much between them. Chase Kalish of the USA had a super breaststroke leg there. He's a very good freestyler as well. It's going to be close. What has Tom Dean got on his final 50?
Well, he's over half a second behind the 3rd place swimmer. Tom's in 4th. He's at least got himself back into contention. But this semi-final draws to its conclusion. Kalish, Seto, Koz still there. Tom Dean trying to hold off Lewis Clareburt for 4th place. Can Tom Dean possibly get 3rd? Doesn't look like it from our angle. He's 4th and will now have to wait. The agonising position to see if he makes his way through into the final. Daya Sato has won that semi-final, the world champion, beating Chase Kalish into 2nd place. Hubert Koz was 3rd, and Tom Dean 157.38 for him. A much better time from him. Showing lots of improvement, lots of courage as well. I'm sure that was a tough event for him.
Yeah, and great to see him recovered well. The team that they will have with them, the British team of physiologists and physios and nutritionists, they all work so hard behind the scenes to help these swimmers recover so they can do the multiple races. And they got their work cut out for with people like Tom Dean and James Guy, you know, and Mehdi Harris, who are doing multiple races in a session as well. And that team is so important to the swimmers, as Tom Dean really taking his time to get out of the pool, walking very slowly around the poolside. Tough race for him. Now wait to see if he can make it to the top 8.
Bang on his personal best time there, John.
Yeah, 157.3. He's done 157.1, hasn't he, Steve? So not far off at all. Really good level of improvement. I was just going to say that the applause is for Hubert Koz, who's the third place swimmer there from Hungary. What did you make of that, Steve? Impressed with Tom?
I think it's great. You know, from a grueling first couple of days as well, and you know, albeit a little bit of disappointment in his words on that 200 free, it's great to see him in there. And let's cross our fingers and hope he can make it through to the final tomorrow. And also, you know, good to see Saito there. He didn't have the Olympics that he wanted last year, but he looked in good form as well.
Well, talking of the Olympics, Steve, do you remember when, I know it was agony for us, but Duncan Scott got cut down, didn't he, in this event for the gold medal by Shun Wang. Shun Wang's in this second semi-final, but in lane number 8, he went 1:59.5 in the semi-final. 4.5 seconds slower than when winning the Olympic gold medal. Well, I don't know. The wheels have come off big time there, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't know if he was messing around there this morning, but I guess we'll get to see. But I still can't compute how he came past so emphatically a world-class 200 freestyler like Duncan Scott. When Duncan turned ahead of him with his 200 freestyle speed, you know, he is silver medalist on that event at the Olympics. I thought for all my money Duncan Scott was going to win the gold medal, but on the day Wang had it.
Yep, we're going to see shortly if Wang can bounce back here. The full lineup for this second semi-final is lane 1 for Hungary, Dominic Torok. He's only 20. Leon Marchand, fresh from another medal tonight in the 200 fly. He's already won the gold in the 400 individual medley, now going for more in the 200. What a fantastic swimmer he's developed into. He's in lane 2. Lane number 3, Ron Polonsky of Israel, a 21-year-old. In lane 4, Carson Foster, also a youngster from America. He's just coming out now. He's age 20. Jeremy Desplanches, he is in lane number 5, the world silver medalist from the last games and Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo. Matthew Sates of South Africa's lane 6. Then Gay Grumi of Israel. Israel then with 2 swimmers in this semi-final. And the Olympic champion out here in lane number 8, nearest to us, Shun Wang. What are we going to get from him? What are we going to get from Marchand? I must admit, given the form they're in, Karen, I'm much more interested in Marchand than Wang here.
Yeah, I would say so. Carson Foster as well, silver in the 400 IM. He had a superb swim, but he's doing a 200 individual medley after a 200 butterfly. That's a pretty tough double in a session.
You were telling me that Leon, his famous father, was a man you knew pretty well, or certainly rubbed shoulders with back in the day?
Yeah, that's right. Leon Marchand's dad, Xavier Marchand, was the silver medalist in this event at the 1998 World Championships in Perth. So he was swimming around the same time as me, an excellent swimmer. And I'm sure he's incredibly proud to see what his son can do.
I'm sure you're right there. Well, early stages here. Looks as though Carson Foster's gone off very quickly, looking the likely leader at the end of the first 50 metres. So too is Matthew Sates. He's gone off quick. So Foster, Sates, Desplanches and Grumi of Israel in 4th place. The Olympic champion Wang off the pace in 6th place early on. But just look at this statement here from Carson Foster in lane number 4. Into the backstroke though, just look at Leon Marchand improving, now a clear second.
Yeah, Marchand also a strong breaststroke swimmer. Carson Foster had a good breaststroke leg, but his strength really is the backstroke on the medley. So no surprise to see him there really make the most of that leg, and expect now Marchand to start to come back at him.
Big swim there from Ron Polonsky, the Israeli, in lane number 3. He swum really nicely. Good news for Tom Dean is that Jeremy Desplanches is a bit off the pace. Wang not showing any signs of closing, and Matthew Sates, having gone off quick, is also just trying to re-rally now, if that's possible to do. As over on the far side, Leon Marchand showing teak-tough ability and amazing versatility, has taken this semi-final apart. What a swimmer, Karen. You're shaking your head almost in disbelief.
Well, his breaststroke, he absolutely is destroying the field. He did it in the 400 medley, he just did it again in the 200 medley, 50 metres breaststroke, and he just turned the race around. He's a superstar, all right, this fella. Léon Marchand's going to win the second semi-final ahead of Carson Foster. Good swim from the American. Touching third now is Matthew Sates, who rallied. Ron Polonsky was fourth. And Karen, that means great news for Tom Dean, who's made the final. Yeah, make that in about 7th place that he'll go through, but we'll wait to see the official results, as I just marvelling at Léon Marchand, able to do a swim like that. Steve, could you imagine doing a 200 medley after your 200 fly?
Absolutely not. I'd be in that swim down pit blowing. But I mean,
for days.
I mean, 1:55.7. I mean, that's an unbelievable time considering he's done that 200 fly. He's going to have a right go at this tomorrow, isn't he?
European record probably under threat there, would you not think, from Marchand tomorrow when he's much fresher? And Tom Dean qualifying in 6th place. The big news out of that, I suppose, Steve, is that Jeremy Desplanches, the world champion silver medalist and Olympic bronze medalist, has not made the final.
Wow, I mean that is a turn up and provides plenty of opportunity. But to answer your question about the European record, I think it's definitely on tomorrow with Marchand. I mean, he just looks fantastic. I'd give him the gold medal now.
I think he and Popovici are the standout youngsters so far, Steve. I mean, Summer McIntosh has just gone well in the female side of things, but Marchand's having a games to remember, isn't he? And yeah, he's going to be the big favourite, isn't he, moving forward?
Well, bowl of pasta tonight, put his feet up, take it nice and easy in the morning. I reckon he's got every chance of going sub 1:55. I mean, I can't imagine he'll threaten Lochte's world record, but geez, I put a lot of money on going 1:54, that's for sure.
Well, Lochte's world record stands from Shanghai in 11. It's exactly 1:54. So I suppose, look, Marchand, surely, Steve, you know, he'll be fueled. This is the meeting where he probably always believed it, but it's now been confirmed that he's such a world-class swimmer. He will probably leave this week thinking, you know, there's nothing I can't achieve. And Ryan Lochte, who's he?
Absolutely, and you know, if you compare him to Michael Phelps, he's almost as good on the 400 IM. His 200 fly is not too far behind. He's a quality swimmer.
Do you want a bit of mixed medley relay action, Stevie?
Yes, please, especially because Great Britain are the Olympic champions and hold the world record.
They are, but with Kathleen Dawson and Adam Peaty missing, of course, this is going to be much, much tougher for the Olympic champions and the world record holders. Obviously, it's a rejigged team out of necessity, and that team, to remind you, is Mehdi Harris leading off on the backstroke, James Wilby for the breaststroke, the butterfly leg will be James Guy, and bringing it home for Great Britain will be Freya Anderson, who has had to shake off the disappointment of her 4th place from earlier on in the evening. That is Great Britain's team, and they'll line up here in lane number 3. Some very strong opponents. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to poolside once again in Budapest, where we've had the most astonishing night of swimming tonight. We've seen high quality performances, and we are going to finish the night with what is always one of the most exciting events on the swimming programme, relatively new to the programme. It is the mixed medley relay, a team of 4 from each nation, 2 female swimmers, 2 male swimmers. Tactically, the teams can choose where to position their swimmers, and Great Britain have gone Mehdi Harris on the backstroke leg, James Wilby on the breaststroke leg, James Guy in the fly leg, the 3rd leg, and Freya Anderson on the freestyle leg to bring it home. And doing all the computations, Karen, with the likes of Italy and America and Australia able to bring in strong and fresher talent, this could be very, very difficult for Great Britain to get in the mix, because there's no Adam Peaty, and there's no Kath Dawson. But we've got to get over that and get on with it.
Yeah, we do. And obviously, Adam Peaty in a medley relay is an absolute game changer. And quite often, obviously we would work the British team would work it around having a male breaststroker, because you couldn't possibly do it without Adam on the breaststroke leg where he's swimming. This time round, I think the go-to person would have been James Guy on the butterfly leg, and then working the team around that.
So the nuts and bolts of it are that Mehdi Harris will get us underway here, but obviously she'll be going against male opponents here, including Hunter Armstrong of the United States. Also for China, Zhu, who's a tremendously talented swimmer, and for Italy, Thomas Ciccone, who has already tasted gold medal success here. So Karen, early on, Mehdi Harris is going to be miles behind here, but we describe this as they get underway, a real washing machine event. It will just ebb and flow. Visually, it will change dramatically. The most important thing is, if Britain are to have a chance of a medal, we need James Guy to secure a decent handover to Freya Anderson in a couple of minutes' time. Meanwhile, if that happens, anything's possible with Freya. If Freya is well behind on the final handover, it's going to be really tough. But let's see what happens. Mehdi Harris goes, but visually she's 8-9 meters behind at this early stage.
Yeah, there's two races going on. There's a men's race with 5 swimmers in it, and a female race with 3 swimmers in it, and that's the important thing for these guys. They just have to swim their own race. And Mehdi Harris going well against Kira Toussaint and Kaylee McEwen, as it is Hunter Armstrong who handed over first for the USA, with Thomas Ciccone for Italy in second. A good start from Mehdi Harris, 59.51, super from her, going sub 60, so that's great start for Great Britain.
Well, that is tremendous. She's done so well. James Wilby is now in the pool, and of course some of the orders will change. However, Italy will remain red hot because Niccolò Martinenghi, the champion from earlier on in the 100-meter breaststroke, is now in the pool for Italy, disputing things with America's Nick Fink, who has won a gold tonight as well. The two of those are ripping it up at the moment from Chinese Zibei Yang, who's another male contender in third place. So these three at the moment are miles and miles clear of James Wilby, who's trying to close. Very important, I think, that Wilby can try and get past Kaminga of the Netherlands and also Zach Stubblety-Cook of Australia. He's alongside them, if not ahead of them, but that's a key swim from James Wilby. And what's he touching now? He hands over to James Guy with a 58.4. Very solid, Karen.
Yeah, another good swim from the British team, and of course just looking at the individual performances as the lead still with the USA at this point. They've gone past Italy now, and also going well China. They have Zhang in the water. She of course swam the 200 butterfly just moments ago really, but it is Italy and USA. James Guy coming back now into the picture. He really needs to make a move. He's closing in on China and closing in on Australia too. This is going to be really, really tight as they hand over to the final leg.
Well, the United States are clear at the moment from over on the far side, Italy. Can James Guy get past the Australians into third place? He's not quite managed to do that, but he is ahead of the Dutch, and that means that they have handed over to Freya Anderson on the final leg, and Freya has got a chance here. Not necessarily of catching Claire Curzon for the gold medal, but she's in the mix. She's chasing the Italian Di Petro on the far side. She's chasing the Australian Shayna Jack on the near side, and has got a little squeak here in 5th place at the moment with 50 metres to go.
Yeah, this is a great swim from Freya Anderson, and this is just what she loves to do. She is faster than Del Petro. She will know that as she chases her down. Curzon and Shayna Jack, all similar splits to her before. It's going to be an absolute scrap for the finish.
Oh, there's 10 metres to go. Can Freya Anderson go past? It's again going to be so close. Is it going to end in heartbreak once again? America touch and win gold. Australia just touch and get the silver. And the Netherlands have just out-touched Freya Anderson and Great Britain for the bronze medal. absolutely devastating for Great Britain, and personally devastating for Freya Anderson as well, who earlier on tonight in her individual event touched in 4th place. The same has happened to her here in this relay event. Great Britain miss out on the mixed medley bronze medal, and they miss out by just a 10th of a second.
Well, I make that Great Britain's fourth of these World Championships, John. And it's just agonising. Freya Anderson so close again. 2 fourths in one evening. She will not be going to bed a happy bunny.
Oh, she's just looking up to the skies now, puffing her cheeks, walking past us with Mehdi Harris, James Guy and James Wilby. They all look very disappointed. Mehdi is trying to force a little bit of a smile here. It's her first championships, but Freya and the 2 Jameses look so disappointed in front of us. James Guy, look, we'll analyse the data with Karen in just a second, but the important thing was to try and get past
the United States of America.
Australians and the Netherlands. He didn't quite manage to do that. Freya was taking over with a little bit of a deficit, and Freya, though,
we can only
I'm sure she swam well,
and,
she just couldn't peg it back. Karen, what are your thoughts?
Well, she had an exceptional takeover. I had my heart in my mouth, actually, before the reaction time came up, 0.02 takeover, so she couldn't have done anything more to get that bit right. 52.70, that's exactly the same as she split in the 4x100 freestyle relay earlier in the week. She has, of course, already done the 200 freestyle this session. It is so close, but it took an exceptional swim from Marit Steenbergen to just stop Freya from going past 52.55 faster than she's been before. So it took a fast swim from her. It was a great start from Mehdi Harris, going 59.5 to lead the team off, and so hard for her, because when you've got half of the male swimmers and half the female swimmers, and you have to just think of it as 2 completely different races, she really held her own. So that was impressive from the teenager. And then James Wilby, of course, you can see there the difference between having Adam Peaty in the team. A good swim from James Wilby. James Guy, 50.95 off the back of having swum a 200 butterfly as well. He might feel a little disappointed with that, and then Freya did everything she could to bring it home, but it wasn't to be.
Well, there was a big battle there, Karen, between you and the interview, but the Americans behind you there, they got full redemption from last year. For those that may have forgotten, that America, for the first time in well a long time, what I can remember, is didn't make the podium last year. I mean, they had an absolute management disaster in their picks, so at least they've got that monkey off their back, and they're back in what they would consider their rightful place on top of that podium for another relay.
Well, they didn't break the Great Britain's world record on it, so there's some silver lining, I suppose.
Good stuff. So, reflections on tonight from a British perspective. Firstly, John.
Ah, dear, 2 fourths for Freya Anderson individually, and in the relay, James Guy finishing 8th. We were discussing, when you're on a trip like this, Steve, and you chat about the likely possibilities. We asked each other the question: would you have been happy at the start of the night with 1 bronze medal? And I would have been, and sadly we didn't quite get that. So blank Britain halfway through the week now with just 1 medal. We knew expectations had to be revised. But it's tough, isn't it? It's really, really tough.
Yeah, it is. Well, guys, there's plenty more from us later in the week, and lots more opportunities for the Brits going. But that's it from us on another busy night at the Duna Arena in Budapest, and one that's seen an absolutely sensational swim from the home favourite, Krzysztof Mulak. We'll be back tomorrow, as I said, on Sports Extra. Join us at 4:55 for another exciting evening. But if you haven't had enough of the swimming, we're going to move over to 5 Live now, where we'll be doing some more analysis, and we'll also be taking Mehdi Harris's swim off. But now on Extra, we've commentary of the T20 blast between Nottinghamshire Outlaws and Leicester Foxes, live from Trent Bridge with BBC Radio Nottingham.